What is up, bros? Welcome to the wild world of historical weaponry. You know how much I love digging into the weird side of YouTube. And today we're diving into a particularly juicy topic. The 5 most absurd weapons in history. I'm talking about weapons so ridiculous, so unbelievably stupid, that you'll be questioning how they ever made it past the drawing board. Get ready for a roller coaster of ridiculousness. Alright bros, buckle up because this first one is a doozy. Picture this. World War II, tensions are high, technology is advancing, and someone says, "Hey, I know, let's strap bombs to pigeons and hope for the best." I wish I was making this up. They called it the pigeon-guided missile. The idea was to train pigeons to recognize enemy targets like tanks or ships, then they'd stick these poor birds in tiny little cockpits inside the missiles and hope they'd guide the missiles to the target by pecking at buttons. You can't make this stuff up. Now I'm no military strategist, but even I can see the flaws in this plan. What if the pigeons got hungry mid-flight? Or if they got tired? What if they got distracted by a shiny object? Birds love shiny things after all. What if they just decided to say screw this and fly home? I mean, who could blame them? Apparently the military eventually realized how utterly ridiculous this whole thing was because shockingly the pigeon-guided missile never actually saw combat. Can you imagine the headlines? War declared, using pigeons? It would be the talk of the century. The memes would write themselves. Social media would have a field day. But hey, at least the pigeons had a good time, right? They gotta be part of history. I mean, they were basically getting free food to fly around and poop on things. Not a bad gig. That's the dream, isn't it? Living the pigeon life. From pigeons with missiles to bats with bombs, this is starting to feel like a bad superhero movie. This next weapon, my friends, is the infamous bat bomb. You know, because nothing says deadly military operation like a bunch of tiny flying rodents. So, during World War II, the US military decided to get creative. They thought, hey, bats like to sleep in dark, secluded places, right? Like, say, inside enemy buildings? Perfect. Thus, the bat bomb was born. They took thousands of Mexican free-tailed bats, strapped tiny incendiary devices to their little bodies, and planned to release them over Japan. The idea was that the bats would fly into buildings, the bombs would detonate, and boom! Mission accomplished. Except, not so much. You see, bats are unpredictable creatures. They don't exactly follow orders. So, during a test run, guess what happened? Instead of flying to Japan, the bats decided to roost in a nearby US base, setting it ablaze. The bats had other plans. It was a complete disaster. The project was quickly scrapped and the US military learned a valuable lesson that day. Never underestimate the chaos of nature, especially when it's armed with tiny bombs. Chapter 3. Panzerhund Nazi dog tanks, WTF. Alright bros, we're moving on from flying creatures to tank-driving dogs. You heard me right, this isn't some wild fantasy or a scene from a sci-fi movie. The Nazis, always known for their unconventional ideas, actually tried to create a tank controlled by dogs. Yes, you heard that correctly, they called it the Panzerhund. Now I love dogs as much as the next guy, but let's be real. Training them to fetch a ball is one thing. Training them to operate a multi-ton war machine, that's a whole other level of crazy. Imagine trying to teach your dog to drive your car. The Nazis thought they could use dogs' keen senses and loyalty to their advantage. They believed dogs could be trained to perform complex tasks. They figured they could train dogs to sniff out enemy positions and then, just casually drive a tank over there and blow stuff up. Sounds simple, right? But here's the thing, dogs aren't exactly known for their driving skills, are they? They lack the focus and understanding needed for such a task. They get distracted easily, they chase squirrels, and they have this annoying habit of wanting to stop and pee on every fire hydrant they see. Not the best traits for a tank driver. Not exactly ideal qualities in a tank commander. You need someone with discipline and focus. Unsurprisingly, the Panzerhund project was a colossal failure. The idea was too far-fetched even for the ambitious Nazis. The dogs were more interested in chasing their tails than driving tanks, and the whole thing quickly went down in flames. It was a disaster from start to finish. Ironic considering the Nazis' other failed animal experiment. They never seemed to learn from their mistakes. Chapter 4. Glove pistol, the most awkward handshake ever. Alright bros, let's talk about fashion. Or at least someone's weird attempt at it. Imagine a fashion statement so bizarre it leaves everyone scratching their heads. This next weapon is the definition of what were they thinking? Seriously, who thought this was a good idea? I present to you, the glove pistol. A weapon that's as impractical as it is intriguing. Yes, you heard that right. It's a glove with a built-in gun. It's exactly what it sounds like. A glove with a gun in it. Imagine the surprise on someone's face when they see this. Because nothing says, "I come in peace," like offering someone a handshake that could blow their hand off. Talk about mixed signals. This thing was designed to be a stealthy weapon, perfect for spies and assassins who needed to be discreet. but how discreet can you be with a gun in your glove? I guess carrying a normal gun was just too mainstream. They wanted something unique, something that stood out. But here's the thing, how do you even use this thing without looking like a complete idiot? It's not exactly user-friendly. Imagine trying to shake someone's hand with this thing on. The awkwardness would be off the charts. They'd be like, nice to meet you too, and probably back away slowly. Why are you gripping my hand so hard with your metal claw? It's not exactly a friendly gesture. And then, BAM! Accidental discharge, just what you need in a tense situation. Not only was it incredibly impractical, but it was also incredibly dangerous. A recipe for disaster. One wrong move, and you can easily end up shooting yourself in the foot. Or worse. It's a hazard waiting to happen. I guess the element of surprise was that you might actually hit your target instead of yourself. But that's a big might. Chapter 5. Anti-tank dogs. This one's actually kinda sad. Okay bros, this last one is a bit of a downer. It's not funny or ridiculous like the others. It's just sad. I'm talking about anti-tank dogs. During World War II, the Soviet Union was desperate to stop the advancing German tanks. So, they came up with a plan: train dogs to carry explosives under enemy tanks. The dogs were supposed to run under the tanks, drop the bombs, and then, well, you know, the problem was dogs aren't machines. They're living, breathing creatures with feelings and instincts, and their instincts told them to run away from loud, scary things, like tanks. So many of these poor dogs, terrified by the noise and the explosions, would turn and run back to their handlers, often with the bombs still attached. This led to countless tragic accidents, with both dogs and handlers losing their lives. Man's best friend? Not in this case. The anti-tank dog program was a cruel and ultimately ineffective tactic. It's a reminder that even in times of war, we should never forget our humanity, or the sacrifices made by innocent animals. Outro. Which weapon was the dumbest? And there you have it folks, the 5 most absurd weapons in history. From pigeon-guided missiles to tank-driving dogs, we've seen it all. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling a lot better about the current state of military technology. Which one do you think was the dumbest? Let us know in the comments below. And hey, while you're at it, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more crazy content. Until next time bros, stay awesome.